Hi everybody. Before we get started into doing any real drumming, what we're going to talk about now is correct hand placement, how we hold our sticks properly. This is really important, so it's really important to get this technique well into your system at as early a stage as possible. So we'll start off, we'll speak about the right hand. So when we talk about the right hand, before we lift the stick, what we do, we get our hand in a position like this, our thumb on our first finger, and we lift the drumstick basically about a quarter of the way down. So we call this a pinch. So I basically say pinch your drumstick. So you lift it up, just like that, and you point it up to the ceiling like that. All right? So the drumstick should be down towards the end of your first finger. Don't have it away up there, down there. I'm pinching it with your thumb. So you have a nice little pinch like that. The rest of your fingers should be pointing out like that. So what you're going to do when you have that done is that you'll put the rest of your fingertips on the bottom of the drumstick. If you struggle to get your wee pinky finger on it, it's not necessary to put that on, but you must have at least the next two on it, okay? Put your wee finger on if it's comfortable and it feels right for you, that's grand. So when you've got that done, you then push the drumstick with your fingers, nice and parallel, underneath the palm of your hand, and keeping your arm nice and straight so the back of the stick points pretty much level with your elbow. Okay? Also, make sure you keep in this little pocket gap here, because what that does, it keeps plenty of room to keep the stick nice and flexible. You do not grip the stick tight. You try and keep it nice and loose as you possibly can. All right? So what you're going to do after that is you're going to slightly bend your elbow out that way, keeping this part of your arm nice and straight, to where your drumstick just hovers over the top of your drum pad like that. Okay? So when you've got that achieved, that's basically your right hand grip. So, when you hit your drumstick off the pad, you should get a nice reaction like that. I basically describe it like if you had a ball in your hand, and if you bounce the ball off the floor, the ball will bounce back up again. When your drumstick hits the pad, it will bounce back up again like that. Okay? So basically I call that like a bouncy ball beat. So that's your right hand grip. Okay. We're now going to speak about the left hand. So the left hand grip, I call it a toy gun grip. So what we do is, our bottom two fingers, you tuck them in under your hand like that, keeping your top two fingers pointing out like that. You keep your little thumb up like that, and you just get like a little twitch like that. So it's basically like you're pointing a toy gun at someone. All right? So what you do is then you lift the stick up with your right hand, and the back of the stick, the bigger, fatter end of the stick, will then point towards your hand like that. So you place the drumstick between your thumb and your first finger, nice and clear like that, and push it about a quarter of the way down. Your thumb tip, just rest it nice and gently on top of the stick. Don't press it tight, just rest it. And then your bottom two fingers that you've tucked in, just let them come up a little bit and let the stick just rest on that. So your stick is basically resting on your third finger. Okay? Now, when you strike with your left hand, try not to use just arm motion. What you try and do is get a little circular motion in your wrist. You move your wrist like that. So, even without hitting the drum pad, just sit and do that, just to get yourself used to moving your wrist. Okay? Same thing when your left hand hits the drum pad, it does the same thing as your right does. It does the bouncy ball beat. So when it strikes the pad, it bounces back up again. And again, it's really important to hold this nice and loose. Don't press your fingers around it, because what will happen is your knuckles will probably go a little bit white. So if you see your knuckles are white, you're holding your stick too tight. So keep that all nice and relaxed, nice and loose, and that allows you room for your stick to bounce like that.